From the station that made country music famous, 650 AM WSM, this is a Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Hey, it's Charlie Matos, and in this episode, we would Zoom with Grand Ole Opry star Craig Morgan. Craig was getting set to play a really special Tuesday night Opry. He would be featured in the National Memorial Day concert, and we would chat about the great success of the reality show Beyond the Edge featuring Craig. And don't forget, he's an author as well. We'll talk about Craig's upcoming book. A lot to chat about with Grand Ole Opry star Craig Morgan. Enjoy our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast.
As we welcome Grand Ole Opry star Craig Morgan on his way to the National Memorial Day concert Sunday. He's going to be featured at 7 o'clock, the 7 o'clock Central on PBS for that incredible show. And between now and then, visiting with us and on his way to the Grand Ole Opry stage in just a few hours for Opry Salutes the Troops. And I know what this means to you to be a part of this, Craig, from year to year.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Anytime we get the opportunity to show our appreciation and gratitude to those men and women that serve, I think we should do that. And I'm honored and always humbled to be a part of that event and grateful that the Grand Ole Opry does what they do and always does and continues to show that same support.
When did you know you would have a military career? Early on in your life, or was there something that happened?
I don't know that I ever really knew until I joined. And then it was really weird because once I joined, then I felt like that's all I would ever do for the rest of my life. I really never thought, I think there was a bug that was always there. I worked as an EMT, I was on the volunteer fire department. So that sense of service was always a part of my life. But it wasn't until I joined that I realized that was kind of my place,
Congratulations, by the way, Craig, on the U.S. Field Artillery Hall of Fame. Man, that is so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty humbling. It's quite a big deal in the military and in the Army, and in particular with the Field Artillery. And it's funny because I'm not I'm an artilleryman, but I'm a forward observer, so it's a little different than what people would think of as an artilleryman. I'm the guy that went out. I worked with the infantry and various other elements representing the field artillery, telling the guys that were back there shooting those big bullets where to put them. So it was very, very humbling and very honoring to be able to say that I'm in that Hall of Fame.
When we saw that announcement, we were like, oh, that is the best. And I know you could tell how proud you were when you had that medallion around your neck and seeing that and being with so many others, because there were amazing people that were in attendance that night.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, it's very humbling. We don't do what we do for those things. And I accept those awards and those recognition in honor of all the people that do that job.
Well, as you sit there in your home this morning, are we going to get some selections from Beethoven or Bach as you sit there at the piano? I wasn't quite sure.
I don't know
what I was in store for.
I don't know if I can do the Beethoven or Bach. Actually, I can. I just have to turn it on. It's one of these that plays itself. I should have just turned it on. I should have turned it on and turned around. You got to have been a holy guy.
Well, please add to your team one Kelly Sutton as it relates to Beyond the Edge. You go, girl. You're up.
Listen, I had not been watching the entire season, I got to be honest with you, but I knew the finale was coming. So I tune in and I'm watching it, and my jaw is on the floor. I am yelling at the television. I'm like, go, Craig, go, Craig. And you turn around. Here is Ray Lewis, one of the biggest prolific guys that come out of the NFL.
NFL Hall of Famer.
He's bogged down in the mud, and Craig is in front of him, turning around, come on, Ray, come on, dig, Ray, dig, Ray. And I'm like, Craig is leading Ray Lewis. And I mean, y'all it was so incredible. I know it was all for charity. It was all for your charity, but just seeing all the things that you accomplished on that show, how much fun was it and how stressful was it?
I didn't find it stressful at all. For me, that's in fact, those things that we were doing and experiencing are the ways that I relieve stress. As you guys know, I spend my winters in Alaska. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's a stress relief, which is the opposite of for everyone else there. and understandably so. It's just not their skill set. It's not what they do. But I wouldn't say that I led Ray Lewis. I would say that we led each other. It was very much a team effort, and it was a team effort from day one. Everyone that was involved in that show took turns in that role of leadership, and it was just phenomenal. It was a great experience, and I had more fun than I can even say. And the reason that I pushed on Ray so hard, Ray at that point was the number one winner in the money, and the last thing I wanted to do was be the guy that held Ray Lewis back.
Right.
So I did everything I could to ensure that he had the opportunity to be that guy. Ultimately, Colton won the most money for his charity. And it's funny because everybody says, who won that thing? And I say everybody won. Yeah. It was the only show I've ever seen, or only thing I've ever been a part of, where even though you might not have succeeded at the end of the day, you still won. You won money, and everyone won money. And ultimately, we were excited for Colton, all of us, because unlike a lot of the other people in our charities, Colton that year had zero opportunity to raise any money for their charity. They were struggling financially. So we all won. It was just a wonderful thing.
What did you learn about your Opry sister, Lauren Elena?
She's a beast. I got to tell you, I knew that about her anyway. She's a country girl. She didn't have a problem eating a worm. I knew she wasn't going to have any problem. The biggest thing that we all experienced there was trying not to get hurt. And she twisted her ankle bad enough that she couldn't continue. We all had bruises and cuts and sprains and stuff. But, I'm just have my pain tolerance, I think, is a little different than most, as I know Ray's is. A lot of people don't know. After this thing, Ray had a lot of knee issues. And in his entire NFL career, he never had a knee problem. But that mud bog stuff was so brutal. It jacked up his knees. It messed him up. But he's a big man. He had a lot of weight to try to pull through that mud, and I'm just swimming across the top of it.
And let's come back to tonight and talk a little about your group, and that's Operation Finally Home, as it relates to what we're doing in saluting the troops tonight at the Grand Ole Opry and what that does in the community.
Yes, I'm really excited to be presenting Operation Finally Home with a check tonight at the Grand Ole Opry. I won't disclose the amount. I don't think they all know it yet. But, that's what we do. And that's what this show was about. And Operation Finally Home was my charity of choice for a couple of reasons. You guys know I have my own charity in Dixon County. And a lot of people ask me why I didn't pick my own charity. I said, because my charity's doing fine. And we're doing great in Dixon, taking care of the foster children and adopted children in our community. Operation Finally Home needed more money because they're building homes for veterans in need and law enforcement officers in need and the families of those that we've lost. And they needed that money. And so I'm really excited. And I've always said these guys do a better job of taking care of those homes and building those homes, because they don't just build the home. They create a bond between the service member and their families and that community by incorporating the community in the build. So it's a very special organization. I'm proud to be a part of them.
If you're at the Opry tonight, as you look at the left side of the stage, or where Kelly or Bill and I stand at the podium to the right, there is an American flag there. Craig Morgan, there's a really special story about that American flag.
That is a flag that was presented to me in Afghanistan as a flag that was flown over one of the units there. And the base of the post I actually made from wood that came from Jimmy C. Newman's farm that Colin Reed had donated.
Oh, I did not know that.
Well, we would be remiss if we don't mention the book. It's called God, Family, and Country. We're going to close that way musically here in just a little bit, but it's a memoir of your life so far. You've got a lot of life left to live, so you got another book to write. But tell us about soldier, singer, husband, dad, and what we find in God, Family, and Country.
Thanks, Bill. It's funny because I don't wear one hat. In fact, I don't really wear a hat. I wear a ball cap a bunch, but I am a lot of things. And people ask me, and talk about that. And I have said that I think that's why my management kind of struggled, because I'm not going to not do the things that I think I'm supposed to do just because I'm a singer. I love writing and singing songs, and I truly enjoy entertaining people. But I also thoroughly enjoy working with law enforcement. I love my military family. I love working with Exodus Road and anti-human trafficking around the world. These are things that really make me who I am. All of these things, and that's what the book is all about. In fact, there's a lot of stuff in the book that you may have been following my music career for 20 years, and there's stuff in this book that I promise you don't know about. In fact, there's things in the book that we weren't sure that we were going to be at liberty to discuss. But after all of the vetting and everything, we got a lot of stuff approved. And there's some very interesting stories. I had the great pleasure of working with a lot of governmental organizations, some of which that carried into my music career. So exciting. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And the whole objective, the whole idea is I want people to read this book, and I want them to feel inspired and motivated and know that even though we experience hardships, it doesn't change the ultimate end goal. And God has a plan, and He knows all, and we don't. And, you have the opportunity to be a part of that plan if you just live your life doing the things that I think God intended for us to do, and that's to love, care, and be kind.
Oh, and you've got the tour now with the same name, and you just announced you're going to be on Veterans Day at the Ryman Auditorium. Yeah, I'm super excited about that. That's a big deal. I've never done a show at the Ryman Auditorium outside of the Opry. So this will be my big show for me. This is a big one. And who knows what's going to happen down the road. I do a lot of dangerous stuff. So.
We actually dubbed you MI6 country music's James Bond on this show last week, as a matter of fact, after reading the book.
This may be, hey, you might want to come to that show. It might be the last chance you get to see me.
Thanks for coming to see us this morning, Craig. Love you, boy. We'll see you at the Opry here in a little while, okay?
Love y'all. Thank you.
God,
Bye,
family, and country. Here's Craig Morgan on 650 AM WSM and Circle Television.
Grew up in a time when a third grade education was all the school you needed to work the family farm. He'd take time off on Sunday.
Thanks for listening to our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Our program director at WSM Radio is J. Patrick Tittle. Our digital producer is Haley Hall. Marketing and promotions director is Amanda Cannon. And I'm Charlie Matos. If you like what you've heard, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And leave us a review on iTunes. It really does help new people find the show.